with Elder Betty McKenna, who's the Real District Elder in Residence here at Real District. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. Quick question off the top for you. Uh, well, I guess maybe give us a little bit of your history and tell us where you're from and how you got to be in the position that you're in today.
Um, well, my home reserve is Sepetiak, Manitoba, and it's Treaty 4, but I wasn't born there. I was born in the Paw, Manitoba, and but I was only there for like 2 weeks till they discharged me to go home. It
So,
was the nearest hospital that my mother had me there. But
uh,
I grew up in the north, and so I was learned how to snare rabbits and set traps to like I was, we lived up in the bush up in the north. My father was worked for the CPR, and he was what they called the foreman of of- and he would bid to different places. So we lived on the Lynn Lake line for quite a while, and then he bid onto the line that ran up to Churchill. So we lived on that line. So it was you just would every time he would get an opportunity to get a different place, he would bid into it, and then we would just move into a new section house. So we were constantly on the move, but the bush always stayed the same. So
yeah. I suppose the lifestyle pretty much standard, just at different locations throughout your childhood.
yeah, and you weren't around a lot of people. It was just family, and we really didn't interact with my dad's crew men. All that they were in their own little house. There was a house just for the men, and we had the bigger house that was called the section house. But we took correspondence. We didn't go to school, and we learned how to haul water, haul snow, chop wood, saw wood. That we had learned how to cook and sew and everything else when we were all of us, even my brothers. There was no
S-
exception.
So you're kind of a jack of all trades then.
Yeah, really. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
What
yeah.
was that like growing up in that sort of a lifestyle, not with a lot of people, essentially living off the land for all intents and purposes? What was that lifestyle like for you?
I liked it actually, and I think so did my brothers and sisters. I never heard any complaints from them. Uh, it was different than what I hear other people talk about when they lived in cities or when they went to residential school. We missed that altogether, and so it was it was sort of like you did your homework and you sent it in by mail, and you never did meet a teacher.
Mhm.
Occasionally we'd go to a school if my dad bid into a place where there was a school. A couple of times we had that, and then my high school years were spent in a regular high school. But
The older I've gotten, the more of a connection I feel to nature. And do you feel a super close connection to nature having grown up in that particular lifestyle as opposed to maybe if you grew up in the city?
oh heavens, yes, yeah. I You still need to go out, and I always say get your karma back. It's You need to hear that rippling water. You need to hear that wind in the trees, and you need to feel that rhythm under your feet that comes from all the things that support us in life. That's you know living out there, even right down to the bugs and the different little things that live off the plants and trees. They're there, and they've been there for thousands of years.
Mm.
They actually prepared this world for us to come into. And I often think to myself, we in my I'm Anishinaabe, was raised Anishinaabe, but I'm half and half Cree, half Anishinaabe. And in that instance, when you're born, they tell you from the time you're younger that you were the last thing in creation, because we sit in a circle, and we're not we're in the middle of four directions, but we're a part of that circle, and that circle of life includes ants, bees, birds, you name it, trees, rocks, water. We're all a part of that. And in order to understand it, in our body, we have zinc, copper, iron, uh, water, and salt. You can find that in rocks. It's our relative,
Yeah.
right?
We're all
So, right.
made
And
of
you know that
stardust, so to
in,
speak.
in, in, in a person's mind, without even knowing that, they still would refer to certain people in community or certain people in their families as that's my rock, the one that holds steady, the one that's the strength. Well, why would you say that if you don't feel that there was a connection to rock, right?
There's something to be said for standing in the grass in your bare feet and on the bare ground in your bare feet that you just can't get when you're wearing sneakers or shoes or anything,
That's
right?
so true. Yes. Yeah.
National Indigenous Peoples Day is on Sunday, celebrated across the country. What does a day like that mean for you?
Well, a day like that for me is, I think when we think of Indigenous people, I'd like to think of Mother Earth and all the things, if Father Sky, Grandmother Moon, everything that's in the universe is, to me, is Indigenous. It's been here since time began. And our people have been here. They stepped since the world was created. When people stepped up from Mother Earth, we were no different. We did immigrate for somewhere else. We've always been here. This has been our land. So for Indigenous people, for Indigenous Peoples Day, I think to myself, why isn't it just Indigenous Peoples Year instead of just a day? So, and I think that through traditional living on the land, and that's what it all amounted to. It doesn't amount to different regalia or different types of clothing that people wear, or it's our connection to the land. And what connected us most to the land is language. And I work with many different groups of people. And one of the things that I am saying to people is learn the language, one word a day. And on 365 days, if you've learned one word a day,
Mhm.
you're going to have 365 words at the end of the year. That's more than what you began with. You knew nothing, right? So,
Exactly.
yeah, and it doesn't take much of an effort to learn one new word a day. But I feel that if our young people could go back to learning the languages, that connects them closer to the land, connects them closer to the traditional concepts that our people lived with for thousands of years. And through different ways and means, it's being lost.
It's also National Indigenous History Month throughout Canada as well.
Yes.
And there's there's tons of resources out there for a person who's not of that culture to learn about that culture and other cultures for that matter as well. Was it during COVID? I took the University of Alberta had the Indigenous course online. It was free, and I think it had 12 modules. And for me, it was extremely eye-opening, um, learning about the history and how we got to where we are today and why there's such a thing as truth and reconciliation and why we're exploring that and learning more about that. And as you say, learn a word a day. You after after a year, you got 365 words. So there's lots of resources out there for people to learn, no matter what culture you are. Is there something specific that you would guide somebody towards to learn more?
I would guide people towards learning what's out there in the way of I used to hear them as called stand-up people, the plants, that people will only, they'll look through books. That's the first thing people will do is they'll either look in a book or they'll go online to see what something looks like. And they invariably always show you it in bloom.
Hmm.
That's not a time to pick anything when it's in bloom.
Yeah.
And so if you start picking it, then you're not going to have anything left because you'll overpick and there's going to be no seeds left for it to reseed itself. And one of the other things is that that whole term that people use called medicine, our people didn't have that word in the first place, couldn't be translated into English. So for them, medicine really meant the better word to use would be good. It was a good thing. It was good
Yeah.
for us. It was good for for whatever people needed it for. And it was our the things that we ate, because we still have the foods out there. I go out and harvest them, and there's no having to wait for a cashier to bring you through.
Do your own self-checkout, so to speak.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So, there's all the things that you make teas out of. You've got I guess it's called Labrador tea, but I called it bush tea. And there's uh, plantain. There's stuff out there that we use, like it's like celery, and even the stalks of the bulrush. You they're all edible,
Mhm.
and you can eat some of them. You can eat raw. Some of them you can eat if you cook them, and that's what our people used is that was their food, and their food was good for them, because their food, when they ate their food, it was prevented things happening to them. So it was prevention. By the time you have the disease, you're not going to cure
Yeah.
it with, yeah. And the same as Western medicine. You've got the disease, they'll help. The medicines they give you are going to help you progress through that disease, but it's not always you're cured.
What's the phrase? A prevention is worth an ounce of cure, something along those lines.
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
And
And
I've
and that's
seen
what
when I see people when they get a cold, they start suddenly eating oranges and popping the vitamin C. I'm like, well, that's, now it's too late.
that's too late. Yes, you should have been doing it all along. So there was
Exactly.
seasons that people would be using different teas and start using different teas. And one of the other things that was for our people, for Anishinaabe, we were uh, really called ourselves the birch bark people, because the birch had so much qualities to it. And the sap itself is it re it renews a person's immune system
Mhm.
in the spring. So we would just drink the the sap that was running out the water. That it's kind of watery, that tastes good,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
it resets your immune system, because you've used up your immune system during the winter.
It's one of the steps that many people have started taking towards the truth and reconciliation is land acknowledgement. We've seen that it's typically done now in front of meetings and conferences and events, large scale events and whatnot. And you've done several for us as well. And one thing that I'm curious about is the gift of the tobacco. There's always a tobacco that's given. What's the purpose behind that? And does it get used for anything, or is it just here's a gift? Thanks for doing this.
Well, it's not, people say a gift of tobacco, but it's not a gift to the person that's accepting it. What we do with it is it's the gift for all the people that you're saying the plea for. I don't use the word prayer. I use the word plea, because prayer was not our translating our word would have been more like a plea. We're making a plea to the creator
Hmm.
to help people. It's very selfish to ask a plea for yourself. Someone else should do it for you, not you.
Ah.
So
There you go. I like
So
that.
yeah, so that's what we take the tobacco, and we say this plea to the creator to for the event, and the people, and then we take it out, and I always put mine in a ceremony when I do a full moon ceremony. That's because it's consistent. We're doing it every month for 13 months. You got well, sometimes there's two in 1 month, two full
Yeah.
moons in 1 month. And people always say, how do you fit that into a 12 12 month? We didn't have that. Didn't have that 12-month calendar. We always
No.
had the full moon, 13 moons, We always celebrated that. So that it's a concept that people can't get their head around, because
Yeah.
they're used to one way of doing things. That's what we do with the tobacco. Or we'll take and you can put it out on the ground, or you can offer it to uh, on the water. There's many different places that we use it, but yeah.
What is
And
it?
I grow my own tobacco. I don't, I
Oh,
prefer because there's additives in that tobacco that you buy.
all of the natural stuff. That's why you look so good.
Thank you very much. I tell you, I don't feel so good that most of the time.
So what does it mean to you, or what do you think when you see the land acknowledgement in emails and you hear people giving that land acknowledgement in front of presentations and conferences and events and things? Does that is that a step in the right direction? Is there obviously there's more things that we could do, but is that a good start?
Well, it's a place to start. And I think acknowledging the land is important because it was here before anything.
Yeah,
So acknowledging that where we're standing on was the territory where the people had lived for thousands of years. Because Saskatchewan is not new to to our people. We've been here for a
a
long
long
time.
time.
Yeah.
Lots of celebrations and lots of activities going on throughout Regina and across the country for National Indigenous Peoples Day on Sunday, but here in Regina on Friday, there's a bunch of things happening downtown as well. Obviously, we want to encourage people to get out and participate as best as they possibly can, and certainly acknowledge the day on Sunday in one capacity or another. Before I let you go, is there anything you'd like to add for people who maybe are taking part in something like this for the very first time in their lives?
What I do on June 21st is I actually go out onto a medicine wheel that's just outside of Moose Jaw, and we hold a sunrise ceremony. So people meet me in Moose Jaw at 3 o'clock, and we head out into the hills. So that's when, like, I usually get up around 1 o'clock and get everything together and drive out to Moose Jaw and wait for the people to gather. And then we head out at 3 out into the hills, and we wait for the sun to come up. We do our pipe ceremony and uh, the tell people about the medicine wheel, what it means, because each one of us different, what
Yeah.
medicines are out there and what's ready. And we, yeah, and then we share we all go for breakfast. And then this June 21st, I'll be heading out from Moose Jaw to Banff to do Indigenous math teaching for a week. So I'll be out there doing that. Yeah.
Well, Betty, I'll let you go. I know you're a busy and popular woman. I'll let you scamper, and I do appreciate you taking time today to talk about National Indigenous Peoples Day and the month.
Well, thank you very much.